Hi there YouTube, Miss Glebe here. We're on the ground in Dubbo, where we left off sometime, was it last week? It's a while back. Been a busy week. We're sitting here in Dubbo. Nice little house here. Hi there YouTube, Miss Glebe here. Of course I'm going to listen to my own voice. Let's turn that off. Cool. So I've got a couple of you guys watching. I've got you in live chat. So I was looking at the weather today, and let's just say it's not great on the coastline. I've got a bit of a timetable to keep. It's a little bit flexible, not that flexible. The idea is that I want to hit Sydney and do the entire Sydney Harbour on Monday for Milk Run. And then we have about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks to get up to a event in Queensland, which is a GA event on the 15th of September on a Sunday. And we'll have the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast and Archerfield all lit up with full air traffic control, IFR, VFR, general aviation aeroplanes just inside the Brisbane area. And I want to be up there on this tour for that, which means we have a bit of distance to travel between where we are in Dubbo, down to Sydney, and then all the way up the coast to Brisbane in just under 15, well, just over 15 days from now. This massive thunderstorm sitting in the middle of Scone is not going to help. So, fortunately, looking at the weather forecast for Scone, I was seeing that the weather does clear up on Sunday. So, I think we'll reverse our Friday and Sunday ideas. So, coming out of Dubbo, we're going to fly down today to Bathurst, where we will stay. And then on Sunday, we're going to make our way up to Scone, and then probably down to, not sure, Maitland or maybe Cessna. I'm still not sure about those two, one or the other. So it might be Maitland, might be Cessna, and then after that, we can take a Milk Run Monday to do the Sydney Harbour stuff. We'll come down, probably tag a touch and go or something over in Lake Macquarie, then head down to the Sydney Harbour Scenic, do a couple of laps just over the Harbour Bridge, down the Victor one southbound to Wollongong, stop there for maybe 10-20 minutes, take off again, head up to Camden for a touch and go, then stop in at Bankstown, and then we'll take Gillett Hill in November back home to Richmond. And then on Wednesday, we'll take Hotel Tango Mike out of Richmond up to whichever one we didn't do on the Monday, whether it's Maitland or Cessnock. And then from there on, we'll take what's sometimes called the Worm, or the correct name of it has some boring. There it is, Delta 58 something Bravo, restricted airspace through that little wiggly line all the way up past Dungog and Stroud Road and Gloucester up to Taree, or touch and go Taree, and then continue on to Port Macquarie. That'll be Wednesday. And then I'm thinking on Friday we'll go up to Tamworth and Armidale, overnight at Armidale, and then on the Sunday head from Armidale up to the Coffs Harbour, do a couple of touch and goes, maybe even a stop there and have a look before we head up to South Grafton, where we park overnight. And then the last bit of the leg will be from South Grafton to Ballina, have a look around Ballina, and then head over to Casino for the overnight. And then that'll be the 15th of September, where we'll head from there up to the Gold Coast for the big event. So that's the big overall plan. I'm not sure who's out here on a Friday night. Certainly there's no air traffic controllers today, so that's unfortunate. But we're probably going to stay outside the controlled airspace anyway. I was a little bit concerned about the weather, so I've had a look at it on the Air Services site. Where is it? Is it that one? Oh, I lost it. It was on NAPES. There it is. So we have Bathurst. No, we'll go Dubbo. Dubbo is pretty good. Scattered 2000. We can see it above us while we're standing outside the house here. Bathurst is showing showers of light rain, 2000 feet clouds, broken at 4,000. Temperatures 8 degrees going down to 4 overnight. That's cold as heck. And there's from 1100, which is 1110, 9, and so in 2 hours time, looking at showers of light rain with cloud down to, well, 1,000 feet scattered. So with that in mind, we may even need to go into IFR territory coming into Bathurst today. Fortunately, Juliet Killer November is IFR capable, so we can bring it up. It's also got an autopilot that we know how to use, so that should be fine. If we do need to do it, it'll be Dubbo down to the Whiskey 731 into Bathurst. Actually, that's not the right airway, is it? It's Whiskey 540. So Dubbo DU down to the Whiskey 540 airway into Bathurst. With that in mind, let's file the flight plan. So we'll set it up as a VFR flight for now. Going to Y BTH, it's BTH, isn't it? Yeah. And YSDU is probably the best alternate. Come back to where we came from. That's an option. We're going to put in DU. And clearly we're not a heavy aircraft, we're Cessna 172. Might even put in our airway. You know, it's a bit unusual for a VFR flight plan, but if we do need to do an IFR pickup, we can do it quick. 540 down to BTH. Rest of that stays the same. We're looking for an altitude of, if we are up there, probably 7,000 if we do an IFR pickup. If we don't do IFR, we'll remain VFR and then stay below the clouds, which might be as low as 2,000. Gone ahead and file that as an option. And also I want to check out how we're going with the visual flight rules. Coming out of Dubbo, we'll track down towards Wellington and then fly over the Lake Barrendong. On the south end of the lake is the Macquarie River, which we're going to follow down all the way to the point where it splits. And ideally we'll go to the right hand side and follow that around. There is a 3,200 foot mountain that we'll have to go around, but if we stay inside the footprint of the river, that should be fine. We can see a glider field here. That's something to be careful of. And then just to the south, here near Perthville, between Perthville and the position named Kelso, it's a little thing that we like to call Mount Panorama. And Mount Panorama has a very large, very famous racing track where the Bathurst 1000 is held every year. So it'd be nice to do a lap of that if we can see it. If we end up getting there and there's rain showers and clouds of 1,000 feet, we'll probably just go in and land at Bathurst and then try and pick them up at a later time. With that said, it's time to leave our accommodation and head over to the airfield. I hope all of your weeks have been very enjoyable and nice. None of you seem to be very chatty today. But we'll continue walking over to Dubbo's airport. There's a little hangar that we'll access to get into the general aviation area. Welcome to Dubbo. Or welcome to Ubbo with a partly missing D. Big chunk of clouds over there. They're not looking good. Good old one-way roads. It's a big palm tree kind of thing, isn't it? Chunky fronds. That's the main terminal you go into if you're wanting to catch one of the Dash 8s or the Saab 340s back to where you back to Sydney. It's pretty much all you can get to. Should we go through the bushes or around the gates? Pick our way through the bushes. That's our hangar that we want to go to. Big mobile phone base station thing. Get good 3G signal here. Even 4G probably. Imagine this is a squishy part of the grassed area. I see a lot of people have been driving cars up and down here. Alright, we'll enter the hangar. And here we are. So walking straight through the hangar, outside the open door on the other side. And we'll make our way over to our Cessna 172 that'll take us down to Bathurst today. Not a hugely long flight today, it's about 100 and something miles. There's our aeroplane. Okay, we'll cross the taxiway here. Look both ways, make sure there's nothing coming. The Royal Flying Doctor Service hangar over there. Just reminding us that it's nearly world flight season. First week of November, World Flight Australia. Check out www.worldflight.com.au and check out what that's all about. Essentially, they're raising money for the Royal Flying Doctor Service. You can make donations to the team, and if you happen to live around Sydney or can visit Sydney, just drop them a note and let them know that you'd like to come down and see the 747 simulator and the big air traffic control centre that they run every year. I'm going to go ahead and open a door. Just pull that over there. And let's get on inside the airplane. First thing I want to do before I go inside is grab that pilot cover so we can chuck it into the boot. And we'll jump in. That's the one I want. Cool. Alrighty, so a couple of things we need to do. Let's just look at the checklist before I go. Yada yada. Entering the cabin, weight and balance is checked. 2 of us on board, and we'll do a dip tank. Just making sure what we have there, about 3/4 tanks. Control wheel lock is removed, ignition and avionics are off. And we'll do the master switch. With the master switch, I'm also going to turn on the pitot heat. Check what our tanks are doing. It's showing about 19, 18 gallons worth. Static pressure source is set. It suggests to do the annunciator test right now. Don't know why, but there it is. I'm going to extend those flaps now. Fuel selector is set to both. The fuel cutoff is fine. Flaps are down. And it's time to do a walk around. So we have the walk around thing. It shows the aeroplane. I'm going to move across to the next bit. Just have a feel of that pilot probe. It is nice and warm. There we go. Into the plane again. So the boot's open and we can take away the tie downs. Make sure these things work. That's fine. All of those hinges are good. And the flaps. Again, the hinges are fine. Tie downs away. Wheel chocks away. And we'll do a contamination test to make sure there's nothing in the fuel. Fuel looks good. Climbing up to the top. Let's double checking that we have actually 19 gallon of fuel, and that's about right. Up here you want to make sure that the oil is nice and straw coloured and there's enough of it in there, and there is. Down the bottom, another oil and another fuel drain. Make sure there's nothing floating in the fuel. General damage of the prop. Everything looks good. Propping in, we just want to make sure that everything is clear. There's no nests in there. And that looks good to me. Static is open, clear of blocks, and up the top we once again have just under 20 gallon of fuel. Just check that it is all fuel. That's looking good. Wheel chocks away. Now the tie down is off. And I just suggest looking into that thing. There is a thing where you can put your lips on there and suck. But that sucks. So don't do that. We can do that. It's a funny experience to set the stall warning system off on your own. Flaps again. They are looking okay. And we are back. Closing the door. Okay, so today's brief, we've got a lot of weather. It's going to get worse the further east we get. There's no point going to Scone today, otherwise we will be completely IFR socked in at an airfield that doesn't even have an instrument approach, so I don't want to do that. We'll just have to do it on Sunday. It's a little bit annoying because I would have liked to have Sunday a little bit clearer, because I am going out in the afternoon for Sunday and I'm not sure when I'll be back. But I guess we'll just have to push through. Have a late night on Sunday and early morning on Monday, and then late night on Monday and early morning on Tuesday. Much like we did today, this week. Nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and fly down to Bathurst. Just got to check my compass, showing a southbound heading. That's showing essentially the same. Yep, I'm happy with that. Okay. We could have a listen to the automated weather system. And I'm going to do that off the phone, because I can. Let's see where I need to grab that from. Here we are. So it's just double check the number, make sure I've got it right. Don't want to ring the wrong person. 419. Yep.
Automated Weather Information Service. Dubbo Airport. Time 0918 Zulu. Wind 100 degrees magnetic at 5 knots. Visibility 25 kilometers. Present weather. No significant weather. Cloud data not available. Temperature 13. Dew point 4. QNH 1023 hectopascals. Rainfall last 10 minutes nil.
So there we go. Automated weather system for Dubbo. 1023 on that. So about there. It's 1, 2, and 3. Set. And the wind's coming from 100 degrees, which will favour runway 05 instead of the other one. 10005 looks good to me. 11's an option, but I don't like it. We'll use 05 and we'll probably just depart from alpha straight out. No need to backtrack. We're small enough. Just going to keep that window open because we're starting to mist up in here. And it's probably time to think about starting the airplane. So, airplane's been sitting for a while. Hi there to Simple3 or Simply. Master switch is in. Just going to pump the fuel for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's enough. Mixture lean a little. Taking a look outside the airplane. No one's around. We've done all of our pre-flight. Hi there, Jeff Denham. Yep, we're flying down to Bathurst today. Weather's not great, but hopefully we'll be able to see something by the time we get down there. Weather up here is not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and start the airplane. Nav lights are in, beacon light goes on. Going to throw the strobes out for 2 seconds. Off we go. Clear prop. That looks like a good start to me. Avionics are on. I'm going to close that. Good stuff. So, just going to chuck in the IFR flight plan because we may need it. That's DU for Dubbo. I'll click that and hit the airway, load airway. And which airway was it again? It's one that goes down to Bathurst. Whiskey 540. That one there. BTH, load, and then we'll go YBTH. There we are. Maps in there. So if we need to pick up an IFR, it's there. And if we don't, then we won't. Currently showing 1200, and I'm going to go ahead and altitude report that out. No one can see it anyway, so currently showing 12 degrees Celsius. Alrighty. Start checklist. Navigation lights are on, avionics are in, flaps can go retract. For takeoff, seats, belts and doors, check secure. Doors are all closed, all those hatches are locked, seatbelts are in. And just going to do a flight controls check. See if I can find the shadow of our airplane somewhere. Can't see it, there it is. Yep, I can see that aileron moving. Clearly. And the back's not too hard to see. Just realised you guys might have some issues trying to see that. No, it's fine. Cool. So the fuel quantity's checked already. Mixture is rich, but I'm actually going to lean it out for 1000 RPM. That is sorted. Now see how the panel's got nothing illuminated, and we are happy. Right, we can move out to the run-up. What do we have on the communication panel? We have Dubbo multicom already tuned up. Very nice. Traffic, Dubbo, Julie Kilo November, Cessna 172 on the grass parking is taxiing out. They'll be departing runway 05. Julie Kilo November via Alpha. Parking brake, released, and we can roll it. There's no one parked over there. There's that one over there, but there's nothing right behind. So I'm going to start into the corner and do a run up right about there on that whole short line. Looks good. The Dash 8 that was there the other day is gone. Welcome to 1700 RPM. Like 18, there it is. 18 looks good. And the other mag. Sorted. Hi, the Mike Smith, how you doing? And yeah, I've pretty much moved to P3D version 4, 4.5. That's all I'm flying these days. There might be some X-Plane in my future. I don't know. We'll see. Depends how quickly those Rotate Sim boys get their MD-11 out. Alright, I'm happy with that. Let's move out to the runway. Fuel pump is on for the takeoff. Before takeoff, that's all done. The trim needs to be set and the radiation lights are set. Trim is set for takeoff. Traffic, Dubbo, Juliet Kilo November, Cessna 172, entering runway 05, departing to the southeast. Yeah, just a quick stop here, make sure that all my lights are in. Landing lights on, strobe lights on, pitot heat goes on, everything's on. Yeah, OOM's FSX's, you know, speciality. That's what it does. It's that 32-bit stuff. Haven't had any major crashes since my computer came back from warranty. So I'm thinking my 32 gigs of RAM have fixed any problems that I've had. And my new SSD that actually works. Yeah, rebuying all your add-ons is annoying. This one included, all the A2A ones. Alright, I've got full mixture, let's go. $60. 75 knots, off we go. There's 500 above. That's not a building, that's a tree. I'm getting a few of those in version 2 of Orbx, not quite sure why. Yeah, the odd floating tree. It's always fun. Traffic Dubbo, Julia Keller, November is vacating on a right-hand crosswind. Julia Keller, November. That wasn't very fly neighbourly of us to fly straight into the town. Alright, I'll keep that turn going. Shoot on the left and then base and then all the way back around. Oh well. Traffic Dubbo, Julia Kilo November is passing 2,500 on climb. We're on the right hand downwind. Julia Kilo November. Yep, you certainly do need your OZx Scenery and Explain, and that's the reason that I'm doing this in P3D. That and the amazing systems you get on your Majestics and PBGs and FS Labs. That's always a special thing to be able to fly very realistic procedures on aircraft with quite complicated navigation systems. I think we'll top out at 3,500. We'll kind of sit there and see what the cloud's doing the further we go east. I do know the further east we get, the worse that cloud gets until you hit the mountains, in which case the clouds touch the mountains. Which is why I've decided not to go over the mountains today. Otherwise we'd absolutely be forced into going IFR over those. Keep it up. Alright. Alrighty. Gonna look for Wellington Airfield and then we'll track down the river to the lake. Stay at 3.5. Bringing back the power to 2400. I'm just going to start leaning out the mixture a little bit. See how we go. Just keeping an eye on that EGT temperature. And I do need to descend again quite quickly now. Or go around that cloud. Sure, that's raining. That's raining too. That's probably, yeah, it's trying, that's Verger over there. Down at 2500. Is that the river? I think it is. If it's heading generally south, it'll be the river. Yeah, might not be. No, it's got to be. Go straight through the town. Yeah, that's Metro River, for sure. Still descending, trying to get out of this cloud. Nice little collection of islands there. Very cute. Tijas Lamb, welcome. How are we doing today? Getting a lot of trees popping in and out. I'm sure that's an I wonder if it's Orbx itself or if it's some kind of other problem I'm getting with two sceneries overlapping or something. And there's the clouds. "22 minutes. I can stay mostly VFR on the way down, that'd be great. Yeah, why is vatsim not working with vPilot? vPilot should be working. Try downloading it again maybe? I don't know. There have been some updates with the servers, so just double check that you're actually using a server that's real. Some of the older servers might not have come across. Australia being one of them. VatSpy, I don't care about VatSpy, I've never used it. No need to use VatSpy, go to this thing, Vatastic. VATTASTIC dot, I think it's a com. Is it? Here it is. Vatastic.com. VATTASTIC.com, and you'll get that beautiful map. Don't need any VatSpies for that. SP2. Yeah, FSX. Yeah, I'm not an FSX user anymore, thank God. Pretty dark out under the clouds here. Had to come down to 2,000 feet to stay out of them. Starting to see some of those hills pop up ahead. Didn't help that much really. Just suggested using Vatastic instead of VatSpy, which is probably good advice in my opinion. And apart from that, vPilot, yeah, maybe try a different server if you aren't getting connection, because I think it was last week or the week before, about 3 or 4 of the servers got new IP addresses. So you might just need to try maybe Singapore, or one of the VAT USA ones, probably VAT USA 1 or 2. 2 of the ones that were changed were definitely Australia and definitely UK. So if you're trying to connect via the Australia server or the UK, you may need to connect to a different server for one successful connection. That'll update the server list automatically, but you have to make that first connection. So yeah, try that USA number 1. That'll get you into the network. Okay, I need to enrich in the mixture again. Let's have a look. Found the high spot. I'll just get a little richer of that. What altitude do we have here? 2,500. I'm reasonably comfortable with that if you stay with the river. The ground's a little lumpy over there and the clouds are a little low. It's just when the clouds get so low that they're intermingled with the lumps that you start to have noise. But for now it looks reasonable. Looks reasonable. I do recommend the upgrade to P3D, but that's up to your budget really. If you're happy with FSX for a while, then you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's my suggestion. In my opinion, I was getting sick of the out of memory errors. So if out of memory errors are your kind of problem, then P3D is the sim for you. The reason I was getting out of memory errors is because I was just pushing the graphics a little bit too hard, and you know, FS Labs and PNDG aeroplanes, they all suck out the memory. So yeah, I just made all my upgrade in one big hit, up to P3D version 4.5, entirely new PC, bunch of new RAM, SSDs, Windows 10. I did it all over Easter. Pretty expensive, but you know, it's like an entirely new simulator. I can see that the river goes around this hill, then back in the direction it came from, so I'm just going to go straight through. Not entirely scud running yet, but I have a fear that it will become scud running later on. I'm using a CH yoke, which was kindly donated to me by a fellow YouTuber called IESAPAC. He came over and dropped it off to me, and then yeah, I've been over to his house a couple of times, had a barbecue at his house, petted his cat. Well, I mean, quite fun. But yeah, I got the yoke donated to me. It's a CH yoke, and I also have rudder pedals donated from the same guy. Hello there to Derek Hornby. I would put the yoke in, but I can't actually see the the tacho in that case. I need that tacho. Yep, that new Flight Sim 2020, or whatever they want to call it at the moment, is certainly looking very nice. Hopefully it's got good systems, and even more hopefully the add-on producers will come over to it. Yeah, that's the one thing that FSX used to do. I forget that. Stuttering drawing the scenery and not drawing the scenery, like you get those black things. I still do on P3D occasionally, but yeah, it's very smooth even panning around like that. And that is why I need the tacho, because as we started descending a little bit, tacho risers. It's one of those runaways that the Cessna has. The faster you go, the faster the engine spins, and the faster the engine spins, the faster you go. It's naturally unstable. Here we're coming up on the township of Wellington in New South Wales. YWEL is airport code up there. But that's a township on the river. Airport itself is up in here somewhere. Don't think it's even sealed, so we won't be stopping there. Let's continue on through the township of Wellington, New South Wales. Yeah, we'll see what the third-party add-oners do. They'll be slow off the block because they don't know what's in the simulator. Obviously, you can't program entirely, you know, an entire Airbus A320 into a simulator that you've never seen the code of before. It's a bit unreasonable. But I'm sure, given a year after release, we'll have someone releasing something for it. Don't bother with Coronado. We all know that, but yeah. Coronado will probably release about 8 different things for it, but none of them will be really good. Probably not even worth buying until at least PMDG or this lot, A2A Simulations, release something there for it. I'll take an FS Labs product over there as well. Yeah, Simeon's looking pretty good. I agree. I'm going to stick to the north side of the river here. Sorry, don't blast poor old Wellington with Cessna noise. New South Wales is a bit flatter to their south. And the good old Mitchell River winding its way around. It's getting a little bit of turbulence at the moment, probably coming off that mountain. Not too much, just a little bit of bump. Clear skies above me, so I might even climb into that. Although we do have another bunch of cloud over there, so I need to slot underneath that. Yeah, it's probably not really worth climbing. Just drift up to about 3,000 and back down again. Pour the power back in. If only the weather was this nice and clear all the way down to Bathurst. I doubt it'll be that way though. Okay, we're into our official cruise climb up to 3005. We'll stick at 3.5. a little bit leaner on the mixture as well. Just coming back. Just find out where too far back is and then give it a bit more. It's going down south. Yeah, this around, but we'll probably be able to get all the way to the lake. Pointing to drop into a valley. Just to conceive we're going upstream of the river, I do believe. So the river conceivably goes uphill rather than down in this direction. Yeah, it's, you know, works for me. I like it. I like the airports. But OZx version 2, yeah, you're looking at land class rather than, you know, satellite photograph of the ground. Work with what you get. I mean, I could put on satellite photograph of the ground, but that has its own weird look about it, you know. You get those baked in shadows and vehicles. Sure, the buildings are in the right place, but they don't really look three-dimensional. So this is the way that flight sims have been done forever. You know, it's a land class. It's a generic texture that is placed onto the ground. Height maps, right? Generic textures, close. It's not exact. Yeah, if you've ever seen a mountain with a shadow facing the wrong direction or in random opposite directions because you've got some kind of satellite photograph as your terrain, that looks weird. It's even weirder if you try to put AutoGen scenery on it, so you get the trees that don't sit on the top of their own shadows. It's kind of always weird looking. Not too much their own. Some people have their own idea of what a good simulator should look like, and I don't think anybody's had an exact perfect replication. In fact, some people would be unhappy with, like, literally sitting in an aeroplane with a camera. Imagine that as a live stream, sitting inside a real aeroplane with a camera, doing a live stream, and says it doesn't look realistic enough, even though it's the actual real world that you're sitting in an actual plane. So it's conceivably true. Someone's going to dislike what the real world looks like. Anyway, this big old slowpoke tour is as much for my own amusement as anyone else's. Flying around Australia at 110 knots in the Cessna 172. And a lot of the places I've been in real life, especially south of here, I can recognise where I am. I know it's not exactly like the real world, but you know, if I can look out the window and recognise the shape of the lake and the mountains and the islands and the rivers and everything, I'm doing pretty good, in my opinion. Navigating visually. And I've done that a couple of times. I've been able to look out and say, hey, that's blah blah blah. I drove past there in whatever year in a car, or I've flown over it. I've flown to both Cessna and Maitland, which we'll be doing on Monday. And of course Richmond, Sydney Harbour, Wollongong, Bankstown. I've flown over those in the real world in a little aeroplane. I've flown over them in the real version of Juliet Kilo November. Really fun to visit old territory. Bit more turbulence there. We've got a add-on called the Oceana Real Turbulence. So it picks up like thermal data from the real world and the presence of mountains, depending on how sunny and hot it is, depending on how much wind there is. That'll change the amount of turbulence quite significantly. I've got 16 knots and it's bouncing around quite a bit. 13, 14. Yeah, clearly a little bit of turbulence there. We want to head down to the right hand side of that arm, I do believe. Just going to double check the map. Yep, right hand side arm, not the left. So we'll go down that way. This isn't a lake I've actually visited in the real world before. One of these days when I'm old and retired and decrepit, I'll probably try and get to some of these places, especially New South Wales. It's not that far away. 10 hours driving, you'd be up here from Melbourne. Probably far less than that if you were driving from Sydney. Now the weather is definitely getting a lot nastier the further east we go. See that kind of haze and fuzz on the horizon there. I reckon that's liquid in the air. So it could even encounter some rain on the way. There were scattered showers at Bathurst. Hi there, Paul Phibbs, how you doing? Yep, we are following rivers. Good old IFR. Speaking of rain, I think it's raining outside my house right now. Yeah, we are dressed for the occasion. Got a gold cactus Hawaiian t-shirt on. Shirt, actually. Go around that main peak, but I might cut the corner here a little. I can see the river continuing on down that side. It's cutting itself deeper into this gorge. Remembering that we're flying upstream, not downstream, so the river gets higher the further along we go. Which isn't a really good thing when you got a cloud layer sitting there at about 4,000 feet. Might be almost 5,000 feet, but I doubt it's. There's the o'clock. Yep, that's that bit right there. So the river does this weird kind of jink. It goes around and back. No need to follow it directly. We'll just catch it on its further southeast. Little portion over there. Yeah, we are using version 2. It has its moments. What can I say? Yeah, it doesn't really like some of the OZx airports, so yeah, that's a bit annoying. A little bit of editing. Delta 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 is online. That's Tristan. How you doing? So I was discussing before. Yay, I've got the loud ding dong on. Anyway, as I was discussing before, we're probably having to stop in Bathurst overnight because the weather down in Cessna is just terrible right now. Looking at rain and visibility down to about 4,000 metres, clouds at 1,000 feet. Not going to get into there. So I'll just hang out in Bathurst for a day or two, and we'll probably continue this either on Saturday or Sunday up to Scone. But going up there tonight would just be a lesson in abject failure. I'd have to divert somewhere. Some of these hills are getting a little bit close to my liking. Probably climb a little bit, test out the bottom of this cloud, see where it is. That's correct, my father lives in a different state to me, so I'll probably just have a chat to him on the telephone about, boring stuff. Sunday, I've got commitments in the middle of the day, but by the evening I'll probably come back and do this, probably 8 o'clock, probably start at 8 o'clock and go for an hour. Apologies for my ultra loud private message system on vatsim here. Scone to Avalon. Alright. Oh, that's Camden, so cool. Yeah, we've reached 4,000 feet, and I reckon I've got another 1,000 in front of me. I might even be able to get over some of these mountains. Where'd that river get to? I can see it over there. Where is it? Right here. Can't see. Alright, we're up high enough not to worry about it too much. There it is. Found it. Ah, it goes over there and comes back. Alright, cool. I'm going to a matinee of a musical again. The second time I'll see it. On Sunday, 2 o'clock performance. Probably be out of there by about 6. Probably be back home at about 7:30. Jump into the sim at 8. That's why I wanted to do this all the way to Scone. Scone today. But we won't get there because there's bad weather. So maybe Saturday. Maybe. If we get some good clear weather on Saturday, I'll just do it tomorrow, and yeah, then we can spend all of Sunday doing Sunday stuff. I absolutely possibly have to already be in camp in Maitland for Monday. Worst case scenario, we can go from Bathurst straight over the Blue Mountains, IFR if we need to, and then just land in Bankstown and then do the whole Sydney basin from Bankstown. Then we'll just have to hit Scone and Maitland on the way up from Newcastle, up towards Newcastle from Richmond in Hotel Takeoff. So there's a little bit of variance in the plan. As long as I can get out to Sydney on Monday, we'll be okay. How did I prepare for starting on VATsim? Well, I just practiced one route. In my case, it was the old Sydney to Melbourne. And I did it in that direction, Sydney to Melbourne. My first flight on VATsim was the Sydney to Melbourne. Basically, I did it offline a few times, and I made sure that I could do things like give myself a random vector and then track direct back to the waypoint that was next in the run. So you do your entire flight plan as per the stock standard route, which would be one of the Wollongong departures with the SID, and whatever that airway is. It's not the Yankee 59, that's the other direction, but Razzie, Tanta, whatever it is, Tarax, Lizzie, and just be able to change your arrival route as well, airborne. So imagine you're doing the Lizzie 3 Alpha arrival into runway 27 and you get changed around to runway 16, and just get used to doing that in your FMS or however you navigate. Back in my day, 20 years ago when I first tried Satco, I was using a program called NavDash to do navigation with. And even back then in 1999, we were flying FMS aeroplanes. They were kind of hooked together with random external programs driving the navigation system, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Nowadays you've got your likes of PMDG and FS Labs, so learn how your airplane works, learn how the navigation system works, and be absolutely sure you can do something as simple as change the runway you're about to fly. For instance, I'm going to chuck an approach to Bathurst for an RNAV GPS runway 17, load the approach, click that, and then into the map. And there's the approach with the centerline. So I've just changed runway that I'm going to fly in this Cessna 172. If you can do that almost as quick as I did it there, you can find VATsim. The other issue that people often have is communicating with air traffic control. My suggestion is to listen to what's that website called again? Live ATC. So go into Live ATC, click on one of the not American ones, preferably the Australian ones, but you know, not the Americans because they're different. And yeah, just listen to them. Try and figure out what they're doing. If a air traffic controller gives a clearance delivery to a certain aircraft, try and imagine what you would do with your FMS to make that happen. Active listening is what I'd say. So just sit there listening to them, try and figure out what they're saying, have all your charts up, and imagine what you're putting into the FMS. Perhaps even write down what you heard, and then do it offline once. At the end of the day though, you're just going to have to jump online as a newbie and make a few mistakes, and that's fine too. We get it. No one's perfect, not even me. I come online all the time and I mishear clearances or don't hear anything and knock stuff up. It happens. You just get online and make some mistakes. No one's going to bite your head off. We're all here to have fun. And that's my random bit of advice. So yeah, lots of listening to your live ATC for Australia. Lots of practice to make sure that you know how to navigate in your airplane, and just go in, just do it, jump on. And yeah, there's quite a few good tutorials with like exactly what you have to say to air traffic control to start the clearance. That's the other bit. I'd suggest flying IFR, because on VATSIM IFR is a lot, it's funnily enough, easier than up the VFR, because once you've made your initial request with air traffic control, everything else is just reading it back. So you say, Sydney Tower, this is newbie person 1 requesting clearance to Melbourne. And then he'll give you clearance to Melbourne. You just say what he said to you back to him. You'll say something like, cleared to Melbourne via Wollongong, runway, whatever, 34, right via the, what's that departure out there, Maroob 3 departure, initial climb 5,000, score code 1234, and you write it down as he says it. And then you just literally say back what he told you, and then stick your call sign at the end of it. And then after he does that, he'll say, that's the other one. The pushback is probably the next bit that you need to ask for permission. So once you're ready to go, Sydney ground, newbie 1 requesting pushback. And even if that's all you say, you're meant to say the ATIS identifier at that point as well, but if you miss it, they won't care. Then yeah, they'll probably say you're cleared for pushback, or pushback approved, facing a certain direction. You go off and do it, and then you request a clearance to taxi. Sydney ground, newbie 1, request taxi. Information delta, or whatever the ATIS is. And from that point onwards, essentially you just read back what the air traffic controller tells you to do, and then you do it. Taxi via this, that, and the next thing. When you're sitting near the runway, they'll get you to contact the tower. And once you contact the tower, you switch to the tower frequency and you just say a call sign, and hopefully they pick that up and give you a clearance for takeoff. Once you get clearance for takeoff, they'll probably tell you to contact departures once you get airborne. So you take off and then you contact departures, and then once you're with the departures, you just say a call sign and your altitude. And that's all you do for the rest of the time. Anytime you get a new frequency, switch over the frequency, wait for a nice clear gap so no one's talking over the top of you, say a call sign, your altitude, and that's it. Unless they specifically ask you to do something else, like give your heading to such and such frequency. That's a very UK thing. It's not something that we do in Australia very much, but it might happen. Yeah, that's it. No SIDS and stars. Come on. If you've got an aeroplane capable of SIDS and stars, use them. For instance, I could jump over there and make a Australian, like, a GNS GPS approach for runway 15 right now. speaking of that, I need to look at my runways. What's this thing? Ooh, that's very interesting. Piper's Field. They specifically don't want us to fly within a 5 nautical mile radius of Piper's Field. That's annoying. Oh yeah, you can do it once as a beginner. At the end of the day, what's the difference between a no SID and the Sydney one? It's the same thing. Radar vectors. Technically it's climb to 800 feet and then expect radar vectors. Compared to expect radar vectors. But yeah, if you need radar vectors, then feel free to ask for them. So, I know how to program the Lizzie, whatever it is, number today, arrival for runway 16, but I don't know how to do it for another runway. Or I've done it, but now that I've done it, I don't know how to undo it. Then you just say, I request vectors, and then they'll do it. I give you a vector. There's orange. Where's this little glider field? I can't see it. Dang. Yeah, that's true. I think it was a bit hardcore when I started vatsimming in 1999. And yeah, I studied up on the NavDash software, and I was able to do direct twos and SIDs and stars before I even logged on. But that's me. I was flying PC simulations for about 2 years before I joined SATCO. I was with Southwest Virtual Airlines. They taught me all about navigating. Okay, I can see a valley over there that I want. Ah, that's one that goes straight down the GPS approach. Sure of it. Just so you know it doesn't. That's alright. Yeah, live ATCs, both good practice for VATSIM and also quite fun to listen to if you're into aviation. Just getting your ear into the whole way that pilots and ATC talk to each other. Okay, we're looking at Bathurst. It has a CSAP of 127.35, which is a bit different to the one we have. That's the difficulty of not looking out the window while you're tuning in a frequency and manually fly an aeroplane. I can see a beautiful gap over there in the clouds. I'm going to go over there. Because I reckon if we thread the gap straight down there, we can avoid Piper's Field. And then we'll be able to do a couple of laps around Mount Panorama. Because if the weather is that clear down there, I want to have a look at the race course. There's orange. There's Bathurst. Piper's Field right there. So if we take this river out to its fullest west extent, then we'll track straight south till we hit the, which highway is that? The Western Highway? and then we'll stay south of the Western Highway and we'll get to see the racecourse. Works for me. We'll keep on farming up to, what's it, 4005. I need to be a bit further west than this for that to work. Some people say you should fly Cessnas first, but in my opinion, nah. Doing a inbound entry to a controlled airspace in a Cessna 172 VFR is actually one of the more difficult things I've ever had to do. It's actually hard to do that, in my opinion. It's harder than a star clearance. In star clearance, you kind of get the autopilot to do most of the flying for you, but in this thing you have to request entry into the airspace, and you might not get the entry, so it's very up in the air as to what's going to happen. You might say requesting clearance into the Class Charlie overhead Sydney Airport, and I'll just say nah, and then you just don't get to go to Sydney that day. That might not necessarily happen on vatsim, but it's an option. Like, can we cross over the whatever airspace and your VFR airplane outside of controlled airspace? They don't have to say yes. If they do say yes, they can put a whole bunch of restrictions on you, like score code, this code, and then remain below 1,000 feet and track via the coastline or whatever. Suddenly all your plans are out the window and you have to the whole exchange it's kind of backwards in my opinion when you're doing VFR. It's the pilot requesting something from air traffic control instead of the air traffic control telling a pilot what to do. So it just puts a little bit more onus onto the pilot when you're flying VFR. Of course, the advantage is we can be sitting here under controlled airspace, not talking to anyone, doing whatever the heck we want to do. I'm flying VFR, there's no air traffic controller telling me what to do, and if I wanted to randomly do a 360-degree turn right here, then off we go. Done. The freedom of VFR. Cool. Alright, we're going to head south of the airfield. There's orange down there. I'm just looking at the Great Western. There it is. Got it. I am looking at that beautiful blue sky up there going, yeah, I'm very glad that we're decided to come down here. Yep, that's true. Looking out for traffic, broadcasting on CTAF, making sure that other airplanes aren't going to mid-air you. Okay, if I aim south of the highway there, will we too close to the too close to the glider field? Alrighty, so we'll just keep on heading directly south-southwest. Glider field is about there, so it's just outside of 5 mile. Sounds good to me. Keep tracking south, and I think we need to actually go to the road down to Blaney Road rather than the Western Highway. We need to cross the Western Highway and keep on going south to the next one. There's the Western Highway, that's confirmed. Spotted. So I need to go one road south before we turn. When we do turn, we have to go directly east. Can't go northeast. So, as I said, complete freedom in VFR flying, except for the fact that, you know, you do have to worry about stuff like this in your maps. There's Piper's Field, and because Piper's Field is a glider airfield, some of the gliders there may not necessarily even have a radio on their aeroplane, so the idea is don't get too close to their field, otherwise you might have a bit of a close encounter of the glider kind. You might be able to survive a bird strike, but you're not going to survive a glider strike. At least not with your conscious intact. I'm not sure how many people will be flying gliders in this kind of weather, but that said, that's very blue up there, and it's a winch-launched glider field. That's all that because the plus sign on the map. 2 red pluses mean it's a winch launch glider site. So they don't even need the light aeroplane to be flying to get airborne. They just go. And that's the reason I'm heading way south of our intended destination. So once you get way south, which is pretty much where we're at now, I love all the amazing systems. It kind of tickles my bone. That's what I'm all about, getting into the nitty-gritty of some weird computer system that is designed to do things a certain way. That's why I really like flying both the Airbus and the Boeing. All the different Boeings that are ever so slightly different, but kind of based on the same kernel of FMS and MCP. Whereas the Airbus is ever so slightly different. Does the same kind of stuff in a different way. So, yeah, I've always been fascinated by the way that systems like that work and interact. I kind of enjoy sitting down with a new aeroplane and just learning how it works. And my learning process is very much these days based on my previous learning, so if you give me a Boeing product, I'll probably know how to fly it within a few hours. Cool, I think we're far enough south now. There's that road that I was looking for. So I'll go ahead and turn due east. That's true, there is real flying, but you know, operating a very efficient airliner at its most peak efficiency is also quite fun. That said, flying a Cessna 172 is not too bad either, as we're doing right now. That said, we have simplified our navigation because we have this beautiful thing right here. It's even telling us how high to be at certain locations. There's the road. You can see New Bridge over there. Yeah, good old GPS. And all the aeroplanes flying today in Australia need to be GPS equipped because we need ADS-B out by law. So you can't go blasting around without one. Even the Super Constellation at Haas has a GNS 430 in it, so that's always quite a bit of a a thing when you walk up to the cockpit of this old restored airliner from the 1940s and 50s and going, this is a super constellation. And there's a GNS 430 WAAS ADS-B out capable GPS system mounted in its panel. It's like, okay. Almost wish that they had a cover so they could cover it up. You can't see it. Okay, looking out the window, I want to be able to see the track, which I think is that right there. Alright. Just going to make sure that I'm cleared that ridge before we start moving over there. Because that ridge line is exactly the kind of thing that those gliders are looking for. They're launching out of the field about 5 miles out that way. I can hear myself slowing down there. RVMAD 1, I have very few hours of flying Cessnas and Pipers. That's pretty much all I have. Those hours have been spread between the years 2003 all the way through to about 2014-15. And yeah, that's about all. There's the runway line. There's 4,000. Look for the township of Kelso, which I believe is about there. We're getting really close. Is that it? Right there? I believe that might be it right there. Cool. Yeah, it's going to make a little bit of a turn inbound. Yeah, that's got to be it. Is that our mountain? I think it is our mountain. It's getting close. Gonna slow down to about 90 knots. Just 100's fine. Leave it at about 100. YouTube does indeed need to fix the bugs. Maybe this scheduled event's been scheduled for too long. I forgot to give you a message. So I scheduled it like, what, Monday? My cruise RPM should be 2400, although I've pulled it back so that we can very slowly go past this very interesting piece of scenery. This is a racing track known as Mount Panorama, which is the site of the Bathurst 1000 supercar race. Summer on this mountain is the literal... it's just over there, isn't it? You should be able to see it at some point. The name of Mount Panorama written on it. That's going to sit there at 2100 RPM. That's West Bathurst. Here we go. Just going to correct my course so we can be square on to the mural on the mountain. Random out. Unsubscribed. Here we are. Here's what we came to see. Mount Panorama. Site of the Bathurst 1000 supercar race. A very famous racing track, this one. There's the, see that. That's not start finish, is it? No, that's just random advertising for the thing. Feel us slowing down now. I'm just going to add a little bit of power and make sure I'm not climbing too hard. V8 supercars, that is correct. Jack Bowser saying up the Fords. I drive a Holden. Just pointing that out. Not saying else. But yeah, I currently drive a Holden Commodore Omega 2008 model. Old car, but you know. Just penetrated a cloud there. Let's get back out of that. Yeah, that was Mount Panorama. If I'm not a fan of the old Holdens. I'm not a fan of how Holden treated their workforce in about 2013, but anyway. "12-hour race at Bathurst." Alright. How far till the approach? Well, the approach airport's just over there, so I'm going to, I think I'll go to this dead side of the airfield. Yeah, we're going to approach from here and then join into the downwind. We're coming in the crosswind. Just moving over here. Yeah, I need to go up to Bathurst next time friends of mine go up there. I'm not sure when they will be going up there. We'll see. How far to the approach? Not very far at all. We're already over the city that Bathurst is named after, so... out there somewhere. There it is, got it. Traffic Bathurst, Charlie Kilo November, Cessna 172 at 4,000 feet on descent. On the dead side of the field, we'll be joining for a crosswind runway 15, Charlie Kilo November, and estimated circuit time at 42. I'll raise it with my racing car buddy friend person. It's a good idea. Go to Bathurst. Bathurst 2020, let's make it a goal. There's our airfield. Nothing on the approach, nothing taken off on the runway. We're good to clear. Traffic, Bathurst, Charlie Kilo November is at 3,400 feet. Crosswind runway 15. Alright, gonna go, well, not quite full mixture because we're about 2,000 feet above sea level. I just leaned out a little bit, not too much. There it is, I just heard the note come in. And we start our turn. Traffic Bathurst, Charlie Kilo November, turning Downwind, runway 15. Charlie Kilo November. There's 15 there. A little bit of wind coming out of the mountains. That's far enough to me. It's good. There's the runway. Oh, they're very sleek looking business jet on the ground there. They have those little fighter jet things. What are they? Is it Nanchums or is it actual like MiG-15? Can't remember. They got something down there that's like a fighter jet experience, and you can go up in the air for about half an hour for like $1 million. That's about where I want to be. Shark Bathurst, Delta Kilo November, final runway 15. There's 80. Go, fuel pump is in. There's the base. Chucking some flap. Brakes, undercarriage, mixture, pressure fuel, C-tail Activesky. Shark Bathurst, Delta Kilo November, turning final, runway 15. There's all the flaps, looking about 65 knots. Got it. Bit of power in. Too bad. Minus 32. Not that that matters in the GA aeroplane. Those numbers mean nothing. Maybe in an A320 they'll mean something, but not in this thing. Let's look for our exit point. It's out there somewhere. There's that MiG-15. That's cute. Looks like it's almost good to go there, but no. Joke Bathurst, Juliet Kilo November has vacated runway 15 Bathurst. There's a Piper Archer over there, we might go and park next to that. Crop duster and some cows over there. Yeah, back between the Cessna and the Piper. On the grass. Right in between those white markers. Conveniently placed on the ground right there. Down. Brakes are in. Thousand RPM. We'll get rid of all of this stuff here. And the master switch comes off. Time to jump out. Cool. Empty the airplane. And using that thing, I'm going to put on the pitot cover. Tie downs. Wheel chocks. And we do want the control lock in. There it is. Cool. Thanks for that. Hope you enjoyed the fly. It's Bernie and everyone else that joined in. Nice having you along. Looking at the weather over in... Where did I have? So Bathurst was alright. We didn't have too much rain. Cloud was a bit low, but there were good big chunks of patchiness in there, and that broken 4000 was very broken. Down in Scone, though, we have 9,000 showers of light rain, scattered 1,500, broken at 2,500, and this tempo, which is past mostly for the moment, 4,000 showers of moderate rain, 1,000 feet, which means we wouldn't even be able to fly the GPS approach into there. Minimums are higher than that. And the Speci SCO, when's that for? 7.3, overcast 12,000, like 1,200 feet. It's a bit of a risk going into there, and I don't think we can. So we'll overnight here in Bathurst. And yeah, possibly tomorrow night, about the same time, we'll take this over to Scone, because I believe the weather is improving over out in Sydney, in Scone, and then the Hunter. And if we can't get into Scone, then we'll just fly to Cessna or something. Is that weather radar? National. Let's look at the weather radar right now. Zoom into that one. And there's Scone right there. It's not too bad right now, but you can see this massive chunk of cloud just encroaching on it. By the time we got there, it'll be all over the place. So assuming that we can't get into Scone, and it's probably just safer not to, we'll head on out and overnight here in Bathurst. Melbourne to Adelaide. Well, we are actually going to have a Melbourne to Adelaide event at the end of this month. One of the Milk Run Monday spilled milk runs. That's already been a request. So we are going to put in an Adelaide event soon. And I'll certainly consider flying a Virgin Australia on that one. The old Australian flag flapping in the breeze there. And the Orbx boys doing their thing. Bunch of native bird sounds in the background there. Alrighty, so time to leave the gate, get ourselves an Uber out and find a nice hotel. Till then, this has been Musical Aviator. We're flying a Cessna 172 and various other small aeroplanes around Australia. And I'm not going to do a commercial flight right now. We're going to do a Friday night ops tomorrow morning. I'll put up the system for that. So Friday night ops is a weird one. They're doing the New York area, but they're not doing JFK or any of the big airports. They're doing Teterboro. So I'm going to fly to Teterboro tomorrow. And then we'll depart out of here and head over to Scone. So, hope you've enjoyed watching. I'm off to catch some sleep. See you for Friday night ops tomorrow. Catch you around.